Venus in Taurus. Reading from a book here. I'm going to start with that. Venus and Taurus people have learned to deeply internalize themselves in order to understand who they are and what they need, in order to have a sense of meaning in their lives. So really we could look at that as the Taurus being values. They've went internally. They've went internally, which is what Taurus does. And they may not be exactly introverted, but they could be artists in some way, just some valuing beauty, valuing appreciating things like that. As a result, these individuals are quite introspective and self-possessed. They have learned in the last analysis that the only person they can truly rely on is themselves. Thus, these people are more or less self-reliant, self-sustaining, and could be extremely resourceful and resilient in their ability to sustain themselves, even in the face of overwhelming problems or circumstances. It says they have learned that they can only rely on themselves. So this could be an effect. As he said, they've learned. This can be an effect of something in the life that causes them, or it maybe not causes them, but encourages them to be more self-reliant and cautious, not relying on other people, things like that. Which can be a good trait in certain situations, but then other situations it can cause a lot of problems. Because there could be situations and you think of contracts or socializing. You look at the polarity Scorpio. Some things that might scare them. Scorpio things might scare them and throw them back on themselves. And in their minds, they're doing the smart thing to stay within themselves. These people have learned to limit what they value relative to what life means to them. Their sense of meaning of what life means determines what they value. Consequently, they have a limited value system that is more or less fixed and static, one that works for them. So knowing what life means to them, they don't want to change. They don't want to change that. Where at the end of that cycle, you're in full-blown Scorpio mode where you just want to change now. You're changing all the time. In terms of relating to other people, these individuals tend to evaluate and hear others relative to their own value system. If there's no common thread between their value system and another's value system, then these people will generally be unable to relate. So kind of sounds like the Aries video. Aries, Taurus, the beginning of the zodiac. We think of Venus. Venus is a very, from a Taurus standpoint, can be a very selfish planet. And the beginning of the zodiac is very selfish. I don't know why this bubble keeps popping up in the video. I don't know if it's going to be in the video or not. In other words, there's an inherent resistance to others whose values are different from their own, whose sense of what life means is at odds with their own. They simply tune out or do not hear what the other is saying. As a result, they tend to evolve and grow very slowly. So have Venus and Taurus. If you have Venus and Taurus, I don't know if it'd be people that would watch this video as much, but the Venus and Taurus people that are in the consensus, man, if you ever met them, they're like hard. They'll be like hardcore Taurus. If it affects their money, their survival, Taurus survival, they won't even talk to you. It can get bad. Especially if they don't have like a lot of Libra in the chart where they can put on that mask and be a chameleon. They'll just put their head down like this. Venus and Taurus people in social situations, as an example, will typically remain silent and self-enclosed unless there is a commonality of values in which they can relate to someone else. When there is a basis of relating to another through shared values, then the Venus and Taurus person can appear very warm, engaging, deep, intense, highly focused, and have an absorbing quality. That's something, though, I will say that's positive about Venus and Taurus. Like, at least you know what you're getting. Where, like, the Libra, which is the other sign that Venus is, the other sign that Venus rules. At least you know what you're getting, and you're not getting a mask. You're getting the real thing. I don't know which one I'd like better. If I want them to, like, put their head down and walk away and whatever they do, or have someone fake it. I think for long relationships, that's why the Venus and Taurus is so so much more interesting for long-term relationships, because you know what you're gonna get. The Venus and Libra, you just don't know. I mean, you do when you get to know someone over a long period of time. But maybe you can get past that with the Venus and Taurus in a shorter period of time. And Venus and Taurus person values whatever the Venus and Taurus person values, including other people who they have given meaning and value to, they will want to maintain and possess. So I don't know if I'd mind having someone trying to possess me, because I'm the type, I just tell them to back off, like it doesn't bother me. It is very difficult for these people to give up or let go of anything that holds meaning and value to them, because that correlates to their sense of purpose for living. Yeah, with Taurus, a lot of times their things give them purpose for living. Because Taurus is earth, Taurus is material things, tangible things. We're talking about early in the zodiac as well, Aries. Just when it really all this comes back to, like, if you just started from scratch in a world and you go out and you have freedom, Aries, you're looking to do something, you're adventurous, and then you get to Taurus, you start to have things, and you get used to that. You get attached to that because you don't know anything else. You think that's all there is in the world. So you get to Gemini. In intimate relationships, Venus and Taurus people can be highly possessive of their partners and attempt to limit what their partners do because of their fear of losing them. This is why religions are necessary. This is why they're necessary. Because how else is the creator gonna create a person like this? They need to live in this world that's not really expansive, so that they can be highly possessive of their partners and not see the grim scheme of things. Because of this, they can be quite controlling in covert and overt ways. Possession, obsession, Scorpio, Taurus. Venus and Scorpio could be more obsessed, but they're both can be obsessed. The polarity exists in the sign. They both can be obsessed and possessed, for good or bad. Some people like this. This is like a turn on to people. It can be an aphrodisiac, which is why it's so dangerous to unaware people. And this is what's filling up the police officers and the counselors' time right here, relationship counselors. They can also attract people who are very possessive of them and who also feel very threatened when they manifest any interest in other people. I also talked to another like young couple that were doing this. This girl tried to break up with him. He was a Cancer. I don't have his whole chart. He's a Cancer sun. This girl tried to break up with him because he cheated on her, and he wouldn't let her. And then they ended up moving in together like shortly after. I'm talking like 2 or 3 weeks later. They were living together in a room, and then they ended up getting an apartment, signed a lease together like 2 weeks later after this all transpired. And I think the whole thing's crazy, but these things happen. So, then it gets into, he always adds the sexual instinct in here. The Taurus people have very strong sexual instinct of nature. Again, it goes back to the beginning of Zodiac. Aries, Taurus. When we get to Gemini, that's not going to be there as much. It's more of a mental thing. Cancer, not so much. Then we come back to Leo and it starts to kick back in again. Virgo, not so much. And on and on and on. This is because part of the survival instinct in all forms of life, including humans, to procreate the species. Consequently, their sexual needs and desires are constant. Sexual energy and the expression of it correlates in a very strong way to their sense of meaning and relatedness of life itself. Venus in Aries desires strong, passionate, and relatively quick sexual expression, while Venus in Taurus desires long, sustained, intense, and permeating sexual expression. This way serves to ground them and serves as a way of releasing their cyclic buildup of internalized emotional and psychological energy. I don't know if I've ever met someone who had Venus in Taurus that I was aware of that didn't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I don't know that I've ever not met. I don't know if I've ever met that person. I'm going to leave this part out, and I'll leave that part. Well, I'll leave it out. In evolutionary terms, the Venus in Taurus person desires to stabilize him or herself. They have to narrow their focus to that which is specific to their own life's purpose and that which supports that purpose. Any other aspect of life in general that is not relevant to that purpose is tuned out. There's that fixated energy again. This creates a frog in the well effect. The frog can only see the segment of the sky that is observable from the bottom of the well. The frog is stable at the bottom of its well. It can control and feel secure within that well. See, people that have Taurus and Scorpio in their chart, or something like that polarity, and they're meant to move forward, very difficult, very frustrating. Think of Venus and Taurus as a person, like you mentioned all this stuff about possession and stuff like that. Well, think of someone who's not in a relationship and they are very internalized, and they also add some mental energy, add some Gemini, some Aquarius as well. They don't need to have a partner. They'll have a partner maybe once in a while. They might desperately want a partner or need a partner, but they'll just use masturbation and the direction in this life, like they'll fantasize and want to be, and they'll have opportunities to release all this, and they won't. It'll take 30, 40 years before it happens, if it happens at all. Venus and Taurus person must learn to open up the totality of reality that lies beyond the parameters of their own frog in the well reality. This could even be in a relationship where they want to get out and they've been in the same relationship their whole life. I'm talking like maybe, high school sweethearts or something. By learning how to listen to others objectively, to hear what others need and desire, and to support their development, they will attract others who do this for them, who do not want to possess, control, or limit their own development. There's going into the Scorpio. You're on the eastern side or the rising side of the chart, going over to the setting side, Libra, Scorpio. Other people, listening to other people and what they want. Famous people with Venus and Taurus. Princess Diana. So stay tuned. We're going to do Venus and Gemini. Venus and Gemini next.